Boo, adjusting audio levels. So, I could go on another one of my long live stream intro rants about how I have so much stuff going on and blah 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 blah, all these responsibilities. I'm so sad and stressed and stuff like that, which no one really cares about. But these videos are kind of like a video diary for me in a way, which is also strange. I'm so sorry. But you know, I'd also like to state the fact that I loved MAG 96 and I wish someone had told me to watch it, even though I guess I should have predicted that it would be good and important because the name frickin' Break-In was in the description, and maybe I should have had a little bit of foresight and went maybe I should watch this on camera, even though it isn't on any of the lists that I have for some reason, even though it was so good. Okay. So I'm gonna be this is like a public service announcement, a public plea to anyone watching. If you think I hope you know by now what kind of episodes I like to react to. It's the episodes which have plot. Not that all the other episodes don't have plot, but I know they're all connected to different things and stuff, and it's cool to think about it. But episodes that are just good story, not episodes that are just self-contained, good self-contained stories. While I like them, the episodes that I'm aiming to react to are episodes which have have something going on that connects to this overarching narrative, usually the one going on with John and fucking stuff the stranger, and stuff like the main plot of the season. That's the stuff that I really want to have on camera, reactions to. So if you have any inkling of what I would really like to react to from watching these, whoever is out there, if you have any episodes that you're this is an episode that you would really need to, you would really love to react to, then leave it in the comments. Give me a list of episodes you think I would like to watch, or that I would need to watch. I have a good, okay, I'll read my list. I'm putting timestamps in all my descriptions. I just learned how they worked after years of not knowing how to make my videos segmented. I've realized you just have to put a 000 mark at the start. Where is my phone? No, I was just looking at it. I have so much homework. I have a competition tomorrow, by the way. I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna rant while I look for my stuff. I have a competition tomorrow, a performing competition. I haven't competed performance-wise in 2 years. So this is, and I haven't practiced in front of anyone. So I'm scared. I'm terrified. So that's awful. I have no practice. I feel like I'm gonna mess up very badly. But and this is my senior year, so it's my only chance to actually do good in one of these. So I'm very scared, and this is very bad. But it'll, pain. Okay, I'll give you my list of episodes. So right now, I do not have episode 98 on this list, but I have episodes 97 and 99 and 100 on this list. So I was just gonna be I'm not gonna record myself watching. Maybe I will. Maybe I will stop after 97. But I was if I'm gonna record myself reacting to 97, then stop and then watch 98 and then start again and watch 99, Like, at that point, I'm just gonna watch 98 on camera. But maybe not, because I'm freaking tired as hell. I think I might only watch 97 to tonight. So I'll change the description and title. So yeah, I'm watching 97 right now. I heard this one was a good one, but my list that I have that someone on Reddit kindly gave me, episodes that I will record myself reacting to, are... Hoopity boopity boo. Okay. 97, We All Ignore the Pit. 99, something. I don't have that. Okay. Okay, I'll just read the numbers. Okay. 97, 99, 100, 101, 104. Yeah, 104, 106, 111, 112, 113, 114. And then 17 through 120. And then afterwards, I'm gonna get, when I get into season 4, I'm gonna get into season 4 soon. I'm gonna finish this show. I don't want to finish this show. I like this show way too much. I'm gonna be, I hate that things have to end. Me talking about the end. Spooky, scary death person. Okay. But yeah, when I get in season 3, 4, I'm in season 3, and then I'll be in season 4, and then there's season 5, and that's the end of the whole show. Okay. When I get into season 4, I will be reacting to basically every episode. Why does this list have like every episode from seasons 4 and 5 on it? Oh fuck. Okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do in season. I guess I'm gonna be reacting to like everything except for like. Okay, but for season 3, what I have right now is 97, 99, 100, 101, 104, 106, 111, 12, 13, 14. Skip to 117 to the end. That's what I have for this season. Yes. That is what I have. If there's any episode outside of those ranges that you think I would really like to watch, because I love the Breakin' episode. I forgot his first name. That was a really cool episode, because it was something we're learning about. It was us learning about something we've known about like a long time, but also there was like so many hints to other things. There was the Ringmaster. There was like, we've never heard about the Ringmaster. Have we heard about a Ringmaster before? We've heard about like these people who run the circus, which are probably Ringmasters, but we've never like seen mention of someone dressed as the Ringmaster, have we? Maybe we have, but like in that one episode where that one little girl went to the circus and described her whole tale and stuff, like she watched the show and everyone in her town watched the show, like they probably described the Ringmaster in there, but we've never like seen him out and about and stuff, like we're like getting the connections between the stranger and the circus, like the freaking Ringmaster walking in. It was just a cool story. It was just a really cool story, which was really cool. The whole return to sender business was insane. Like it was like the package showing up with his name on it, and like him like running this business, but like his business got taken over, and like him running this business and like somehow having his handwriting, but him just not remembering it. It was like insane. He was like taken over. His entire life was hijacked. It was insane. Like, it was just a cool story. We learned the origin we learned the origin of these two people. Like, they stole these two people. We learned the origin of these two things. They like stole the name of this guy's business as their own, and then it was a fucking cool episode. It was a fucking cool episode. And to top it off, freaking John and Daisy go on like a vigilante mission where they're like, you gotta talk, you gotta tell us what we tell us what we wanna know. See, they like walked into like the freaking fuck, you should have seen my reaction when they mentioned the anglerfish. I went insane. I went absolutely wacky. I was like, the anglerfish from episode 1. Episode 1. Like, I love that episode. Like, I was like, it was just throughout the episode, there was so many little moments which I just would like to, which I'm like I was in so many moments throughout the whole thing. Like, it's like the sum of its parts that makes an episode something that's great. But like, especially things that going on with the characters. Like, I'm sorry, statements are good a lot of the time. They're very good, but I don't want to react to episodes that are just like a cool spooky statement. Like, you know, like if nothing happens, like progression wise, like if there's no moment for me to go like at, like, I'll watch it on my own. Like, I don't need a reaction video to it. Like, I like watching Magnus Archives video, like, podcasts, like, in my car. Like, I do like watching them outside of recording them. So it's like really, like, so aside from recommending the episodes, which I'd really like to watch outside of my list, if there's an episode on that list which you think, like, doesn't fulfill my criteria of, like, a plotty-ish episode, then please let me know as well. If there's an episode you think that I don't need to react to. Because I watch every episode. I mean, I listen to every episode. I'm sorry. You know, I listen to every episode, and basically, and when I get back on stream, I talk about the previous episodes too. But, you know, I'm like, you know, there's some episodes I don't need to react to. Some episodes I do. Like there's like Bodybuilder. Like, it was cool. There was the Jared stuff. It was a good little story and stuff. People seem to like it a lot, standalone wise. Like, the statement seemed good. People seem to like the statement, and then they like the connection to Jared and a bunch of stuff. But as an episode, it didn't really. I was like, I could have watched this by myself. I could have listened to this by myself. I don't know how I recorded it. Like, it was fine, you know. But like, you know, any episodes that are just like, you know, do you know what I'm talking about? I record these so I can like have my reaction to like plot twists or like characters doing crazy things, you know, or like revelations, you know, not just like plot twists, but like us like learning about stuff that we've always been curious about, you know, stuff like that. Cause you know, I've been asking about Breaking in Hope forever. Like, every time they're brought up, I'm like, it's the Breaking in Hope guys. Are they working for the stranger? Are they working for a bunch of multiple things? Are they working for that one guy? Are they working for? Are they connected to the? And like every time that like a new detail about them is brought up, I'm like rushing through my brain. But like, you know, stuff. Okay, there was a bunch of stuff that happened during the episode. There's everything about that. They brought up the anglerfish, and we learned that freaking like, I'm pretty sure I knew this before, and I saw this on the wiki, but I'm an idiot and I forgot it again. Like, the people who have been disappearing, these people that have been running the antique shop, I think, the freaking victims of the anglerfish. So they've been like gutted by this like hangy thingy, and they've been like replaced by mannequins. It's like just like they're not them. But like in a non like universe bendy I'm just them now type way, but more like a I'm a mannequin now type of way, you know, which is insane. That's super. The moment Jonathan Sims said the anglerfish, I went. I'm like, that's from the first episode. Oh my god. It's like, I really like that. But like, Jonathan Sims going on like this like freaking crusade with his like cop buddy. Like, fuck. And they're like learning more about the beholding. Like him using his powers like a superhero. Apparently. Like, it was so cool. Jonathan Sims being cool. There's Daisy shooting them, and then like the fucking just them still getting away, but just like leaving a puff of like sawdust. It's cool. It's cool, you know. So I think I might do only 77 tonight, not 77, 97 tonight, even though the title says otherwise. I'm sorry. I'm tired and I have a bunch of shit to do, like sleeping and also composing, but I'm not gonna do that because I'm lame. So yeah. Episode 97, We All Ignore the Pit. I've heard good things about this episode. I don't know, I talked forever for this opening. I wish I could talk more about the fucking Return to Sender episode. I loved Return to Sender. That might have been one of my favorite episodes in the whole like series. It was like a perfect blend of like we get answers, we get connections, we get like this cool story about something we already knew, which already automatically makes me like so much more invested. We got backstory on something we wanted backstory on forever, and at the end we get this super cool like furthering the main plot stuff of Jonathan Sims doing shit, and like Daisy and like we got like Jonathan Sims doing shit, learning things about the unknowing and connecting things with stuff that happened all the way back in season 1. It was just a perfect episode. I loved that episode, and I don't know why it's not on the reaction list. It was so good. Okay, I'm gonna watch the next episode. Haha. Haha. Hoo hoo. Okay. The Magnus Archives. Wow. Wait a second. Okay. I was concerned for a second that 100 and 101 weren't on my fucking reaction list, and I was going mental because like I just looked at the fucking descriptions like for those two episodes, and I'm like, there's no way these episodes aren't on my list because they seem like literally season finale episodes just based on the description alone. Okay, I'm gonna react to I just see that the next episode is called Lights Out, and I'm like, I know there's like the whole darkness cult going on that's been going on forever, which is a really cool concept because like there's that one concept of the guy that went in that church, and then like the lights went out and it was completely dark, and it was like he was in a completely different dimension. That was really cool. There was like a completely different world there when the lights out, which is like it plays on a lot of their fears of the dark that people have because you don't know what's there, and it made it like took that up to 11, and I love that concept, like storytelling and like world building wise, but like otherwise, I actually do have a fear of the dark because of the aforementioned reasons of not being able to see. So I don't like the dark episode. It's the one thing that really gets to me. It's not like it's just like anything. It reminds me of like the horror dark stuff has me checking like over my shoulder and rushing down like to the hallway once I turn off the lights, you know. I've always done that, but like it just amplifies it. I'm like, okay. We all ignore the pit. Dakota, Washington.
Hey everyone,
I know
I'm
that
Jess,
place.
And I'm Jen. We're the hosts of the beauty podcast Fat Mascara, here to tell you about Stray
I'm
Lip
sorry.
Formed and fully produced by Rusty Quill. They'll then be released through our network during the upcoming season break. Full details are available on our website website, social media, or via the link in the show notes. Don't hang around though, the competition closes at midnight GMT on Sunday 1st of April 2018, and we won't be able to accept late entries.
I don't know.
Best of luck to all of you that take part. We're really looking forward to
Oh my
seeing
god,
what you come up with.
it looks like they
and
sound
can't
so
wait to
quiet.
work with the lucky winners.
Hi everyone, Ben here. I'd just like to take a moment to thank some of our patrons. Dania Gross, Christine Labrie, Anne Ackerman.
Why do they
Carter,
seem so quiet? Oh my god.
Joshua Pittman, Gary A. Bonilla, Lawrence Taylor, Bradley Beck,
Do do.
Sonia Sankavari.
Volume mixer time.
Thank you all. We really appreciate your support. If you'd like to join them, go to
Oh, is that-
www.patreon.com/Rusty Quill and take a look at our rewards.
Is that why Spotify's been so quiet all the time? Oh my god, is that health? Oh my god, okay. Okay, that seems like it works, but good. Good work, good. Okay.
Rusty Quill presents
Whoa, man.
the Magnus Archives.
Okay, oh my god, he's talking and it actually sounds like he's talking. That's insane. I'm just doing my audio settings, by the way. I'm sorry. Okay.
Episode 97. We all ignore.
Okay, yeah, looks like a good audio setting. Okay, I feel like I'm in a better place than before. Cool. Oh man, spooky music. Yeah, I'm tired. I talked forever.
Statement of Jackson Ellis regarding the geographical
Oh
oddities
my
in
God.
the town of Bukoda, Washington.
I can higher my volume
Original
so
statement
much.
given 3rd March
Okay,
2009.
let's go.
Audio recording by Jonathan
Okay,
Sims,
okay,
head
I'm just trying to
architect,
test my
Magnus
audio. I'm sorry, I'm
Archives,
talking too much.
London.
Hi, John!
Statement begins. Last year I moved to the small town of Bukoda, about 15 miles outside of Olympia in the state of Washington. I'd never heard of the town before, and I certainly had no idea about what I would soon start to think of as the pit. The choice to move was not entirely mine, as my circumstances had driven me into a very particular situation. I'd moved out to Olympia from Pittsburgh to pursue what appeared to be a very promising job as a correspondent for a regional newspaper. There weren't a lot of opportunities in my field, so when I was offered the position in Olympia, I had used all of my savings to make the move.
Rip.
I never got the full story on why the paper closed down so quickly. One person told me they'd gone bankrupt due to embezzlement at a high level, another claimed there was a huge libel suit and they'd lost it badly, and a third said the decision had been made by their parent company without warning. Whatever the reason, I turned up to my first day of work to find the office halfway through being disassembled. I hadn't technically started my job yet, so there was no redundancy or severance. I was just stranded in Olympia with no money and no obvious place to go. It didn't help matters that my new landlord proved entirely unsympathetic to my situation, since even if I got a new job immediately, I'd be unable to make the next rent payment on the rather overpriced apartment in the city centre. He told me I was in breach of contract and was to be evicted. He gave me 3 days. So I ended up in a place where I desperately needed to find somewhere very cheap to live very quickly. Somewhere I could stay while I looked for another job. My parents were dirt poor themselves and couldn't help. I mean, I'm sure they'd have taken me back in, but I didn't have the money to travel across half the country, especially not with all my stuff. You never realize how many possessions you have until you find them weighing you down, or how little value most of them have to anyone but you. I sold what I could, but I got less than $50 and had barely got rid of anything. So when I got chatting to Tar, 2 days before I was getting kicked out, and he told me he had a spare room he was looking to rent out on the cheap, I said yes almost before he'd given me any details about it. Thomas Krychek was young, blandly handsome, and not desperately bright. He seemed like a good sort, though. He'd bought a small one-story home in the town of Bukoda with his partner a few years ago, but she'd split a month or two before, and now he was struggling to keep up the payments on the house. It wasn't much, but it fit what might generously be called my budget, and Bukoda was less than an hour's drive from Olympia, so commuting into any job I might actually get wouldn't be too bad. I shook his hand, and I moved there. The town was almost exactly what you would expect. A small grid without traffic signs or markings, patches of grass and dirt with small houses irregularly dotted about. What infrastructure there was boasted only volunteers, and I'd be surprised if there was more than 500 people in total who called it home. The forest pressed in on all sides, like it did everywhere in the Pacific Northwest, I suppose, but it was an effect I was struggling to get used to. As I pulled up to Tommy's house for the first time, it was strange. I felt like even before I turned off the engine I didn't belong there, like I had walked backstage at a theatre. Nobody stopped me, but I couldn't shake the impression that I'd gone somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. Even when Tommy came out and started to unpack the trunk, it seemed to me that he blended into the town in a way I just didn't. There was no sign this was anything other than in my own head, though. Tommy didn't seem to notice anything off, and
Blended.
as I shifted my stuff into the tiny bedroom, he wordlessly handed me a beer with a big smile. I drank it gladly and tried my best to relax. As it turned out, my situation wasn't quite as dreadful as I thought. I discovered the next day that my work had actually paid me a small amount. It wasn't clear whether it was meant to be salary or severance, and I couldn't get through to anyone who might have been able to explain it, but it was enough to ease the relentless pressure, if only a little bit. I allowed myself a few days to rest and
Not
recover
sus
from
at
the
all.
chaos that
I don't know how workplaces actually work, so
suppose
I have no
technically I
clue.
could have moved out of Tommy's place, but he seemed genuinely happy to have me around, and I reckoned my efforts were better spent looking for a new job than a place to live. I spent the next few days sleeping, drinking, and gently exploring the tiny town which now counted me among its residents. It was quiet, though by no means deserted. I regularly saw other people walking the streets, though there was no sidewalk to speak of. It may have just been my imagination, but whenever they saw me, it seemed like they paused for just a moment, staring at me before they continued on their way. They seemed friendly enough apart from that, and there never seemed to be any subtext or hidden meaning behind their greetings. Thinking back now, though, I'm not sure I ever saw any children.
What is this, WandaVision?
I found the pit almost immediately. It wasn't like it was something that could easily be missed, sitting there at the intersection of River Street and 6th, gaping up at the bright blue sky. It looked like a sinkhole, but almost completely circular. And instead of the sheer drop of most such holes, this one sloped gently down towards a small opening at the center, maybe 10 or 15 feet below street level. In some ways it seemed more like a crater than a sinkhole, but it was so neat and regular, I didn't think it could be the result of an impact or explosion. It was huge, bigger than the street that should have been there, and the thing that struck me as odd was that the road continued around it. It seemed to split apart just before the pit and come together.
It's like a roundabout.
I mean, I don't know if you can
It's
judge
just a
the age of the
roundabout.
hole just by looking at it, but it didn't seem that old.
It's a new roundabout. They have not
Or at
finished
least
yet.
It definitely hadn't been put down recently. There was no indication it had been laid separately to the rest of the town. The pit was just there. As I stood, staring at the hole in the ground, I heard a car coming up the road behind me. I stepped to the side as it drove past and around the edges of the pit before continuing on. I glanced briefly inside the driver's side window, but there was no surprise on her face, no irritation at the obstacle. It seemed to have barely registered. I left soon afterwards, weirdly unnerved by its
Episode title insert here.
circular presence. I asked Tommy about it the next day. He was reaching to the kitchen to grab me a beer when I told him I'd stumbled across it when walking around town. I wondered, did he know anything about it? How long had it been there? Was it a sinkhole or an earthquake or what? It was only after I'd casually tossed out a whole series of questions that I noticed Tommy had frozen in place, one hand in the fridge and the other on the door. He didn't seem alarmed or scared, just completely still. I was quiet for a few seconds, and then he took the beer out and handed it to me, shutting the little fridge behind him. He gave no indication that he'd heard me, so I asked again. The pit on 6th and River, what was its deal? He looked at me for a while, like he was trying to puzzle out what I had said from a different language, then shrugged and mumbled something about old roads not being properly maintained. No, I said, the pit. The big hole in the ground. He just shook his head like I was talking nonsense and headed off to his room. I tried to drink my beer, but it tasted thick and unpleasant on my tongue. I wanted to forget it, to ignore the dusty crater that waited in the middle of this tiny town. But I couldn't. Something about it rubbed at me, like a speck of dirt in my eye, but the more I tried to reach it, the deeper it went. I checked maps of the area, looking to see if any of them featured the odd landmark, but I found ones that went right up to 2008, and none of them had anything marked at that spot, even though the split in the road had clearly been there far longer than a year. I tried to talk about it, see if anyone else had any idea about what the pit was or why it was there, but when I asked around Joe's, the only diner in town, everyone reacted just like Tommy. Mishearing, misunderstanding, or just straight up ignoring me. It wasn't even like they seemed deliberately evasive. All their reactions seemed genuine, but no one was able to talk about the pit.
Attention just slides off of it. I just keep talking about this thing that I keep thinking of, about attention sliding off of it. I don't know.
I'd seen him around a bit, though I couldn't have told you who he was or what he did. He was big, though, with a face that looked chiseled out of limestone. I stopped eating and waited. The old man stared at me for what must have been a good 20 seconds, and then he spoke. "Nothing for you down there," he said. "You just go and enjoy your sky."
Sky?
There was taking the threat in his voice, as if I wasn't going to have a lot of time left to do so, and I was about to say something when his head suddenly snapped forward and he spat at my feet. Then he turned and walked away.
Okay.
Down and saw a thick brown lump of mud.
Huh?
Nobody looked over, and I didn't follow him.
Is that...
I actually tried to take his advice.
Why does that
I had
seem
other things to
familiar?
be worried about, and fundamentally,
I know there's been a bunch of other episodes about like people being like trapped underground, and like especially I guess the subway episode on the train, and Dig obviously, and like going underground and shit. But like, what is that? Someone like spitting up dirt. Like, what is that? I never thought I'd say that. What is someone like coughing up dirt? Seem familiar? Did that happen in the subway episode? The guy that was already stuck down there for a long time. Why does it feel like a character in this show like coughed up dirt? Like, I don't know. I'm insane. Okay, let's go. I'm too tired for
I was
this.
so obsessed with a hole in the ground. It wasn't even like I needed to travel that road. I was only regularly travelling to Olympia to apply for jobs, and from Tommy's house the pit was in entirely the other direction. But I started to dream about it. Dream about walking into the pit, the ground turning to thick, sucking mud underneath me. I'd dream about it filling my mouth, my lungs. I couldn't breathe. There was one. I can't honestly say if it was a dream, but I also can't bring myself to call it a memory. It was sunny, the middle of the day. I could hear the sound of laughter from somewhere in town, soft voices chatting to each other. A peaceful day. I walked as far as the pit, and for the first time I crossed the edge and began to climb down into it. It was dry, dusty, and the air felt different from the rest of the town. Slowly, carefully, I walked to the hole in the center. This bit looked more like a sinkhole, disappearing down into the pitch darkness. It was less than a foot across, and I felt a gentle rush of cool, wet air. I sat there listening, convinced I could hear something. But there was only silence. I leaned closer, my head directly over the hole, and I heard it. And then I did what it told me to. I took my hand, and I reached down into the darkness. Down and down, until my whole arm was inside, up to the shoulder. It was damp and cold, with the rough stone sides scraping my skin. But my hand was stretched as far as I could, and it still gripped nothing but empty air. Then the hole began to close, and all at once the spell was broken. I tried to pull my arm out to get free, but it held me tight, not quite crushing me, but holding me in place. I screamed and cried for help, looking around for anyone who might be able to hear me. But the only people walking by seemed utterly oblivious to what was happening. Then I felt it, something brushing against my hand from below it in the hole. Teeth. Wet, blunt teeth.
Teeth?
Quickly gave way to a rough, slender tongue that wrapped itself around my hand and snaked up my arm as though tasting me.
Mouth hole.
Then, without warning, I felt it
I
snap back into
didn't know the
darkness,
ground was a
taking
mouth.
some of the sting with it, and my arm was abruptly released. The next thing I remember, I was lying in bed. I want to say I had just woken up, and it was all a dream. But I was fully dressed, dusty, and with long, thin scratches that snaked around my arm. That was when I started desperately looking for a way to leave Bukoda. I'd been there for just over a month by this point and had managed to find a part-time job over in the nearby town, Jahalis. The pay wasn't great, but it should have been just about enough to move out if I was careful. Tommy was upset, of course, but didn't seem surprised. That month had been a bit tense and we weren't particularly well suited to living together anyway. I suppose that's what you get for moving in with strangers you meet in a bar. It was the night before I left that it happened. 17th June 2008. I'd got all my things boxed up and ready to go. I had the keys to my new place. All I had to do was get one more good night's sleep. Instead, I was woken up about 2 in the morning by the sound of the front door closing. I called out, but Tommy didn't respond. I searched the house to make sure no one had broken in, but the place was empty. I was alone. Tommy's business was his own, I decided, and was about to return to bed when I saw a shadow pass by the window. Then another. I quietly moved to the door and pushed it open, looking out into the street to see if I could figure out what was going on. There aren't a lot of streetlights in Bukoda, and at night, when all the houses are dark, it can get very eerie indeed. I was close enough to see the figures moving down the road, though. They walked casually, like they were just going for a stroll. But there were a lot of them, maybe the whole town, walking out of their houses and trailers and down the unlit streets. I knew exactly where they were going, and I just couldn't stop myself following them. I don't know how the whole town was able to get inside the pit. There must have been hundreds of them, piled high and encrusted with mud. They did not move, though their eyes shone so brightly in my torch that they must have been alive. None of them made a sound, though I could feel a warmth and shuddering below my feet, as though the earth itself was screaming. Without warning, one of their heads snapped towards me. It was a young woman who had lived the next road over and whose name I had never learned. She stared at me, eyes suddenly alive with terror, and began to scream. The instant she did, she disappeared, pulled into the ground, cutting the sound off before it had even begun. I turned and ran, back to the house. I wanted to drive away, but I couldn't bear to be outside, so I hid under my bed the rest of the night, and felt the ground rock gently beneath me. I don't know if Tommy returned the next day. As soon as it was light outside, I leapt into my car and began to drive away. I tried to, at least. I didn't want to see the pit again. I really didn't. But I did. It was empty as before, like the previous night had never happened. But it was bigger, and the road had swelled to encompass it. There was someone else looking at it, though. An elderly woman, face pinched and thoughtful, stood at the edge, looking down. I didn't recognize her, or the car she stood next to. She definitely wasn't from Bukoda. Sat in the car next to her, I could see a young man who had clearly been crying. I couldn't get over how blue his eyes were. The old woman caught my eye and looked from me to the pit and back again. I thought about saying something when she gestured for me to leave, and I did. I decided that I was no
Person
part
with
of whatever
blue
was happening,
eyes
so I drove away and didn't look back.
being
That night,
sacrificed to the pit?
destroyed the
I don't know
entirely,
what's happening.
so I guess I'll never know what was going on.
Wait, what?
I decided that I was no part of whatever was happening, so I drove away and didn't look back.
Who's a person with blue eyes?
That night, the earthquake struck that destroyed Bukoda entirely,
Earthquake.
so
I mean,
guess
it's
I'll
earth
never know what's
related,
going on.
so.
And honestly,
What
I'm
is
glad.
this, like, toll thing called?
Statement
the
ends.
trench, the
Why
swallower.
has Elias sent me this statement?
Why
A
is
place
he
the other
telling
side
me
of the
about
world
the
to people
fucking
who don't
Earth?
seem to have any connection with what's going on.
I'm
I've
dealing with
suspected
the
for a while
stranger right
there
now.
may be some
Was
power concerned with caves and enclosed spaces.
Oh
being
yeah,
buried alive
this
or
would be
whatnot.
Lost John's cave. I'm a fool. Like Lost John's cave. Like I've always been thinking, like, since I heard that statement, like, what would be the thing dealing with this? I was realizing at the time, like, is this like something to do with like I was trying to connect it to other things that I'd heard, and I was like, is this like something to do with like space or like darkness? I considered Lost John's cave like one with like the same, like, fuck, okay, I considered Lost John's cave like a product of like the darkness thing, because they put so much emphasis on it being complete darkness, that I thought it would have to do with the I thought it had to do with the darkness people, but like that this is also a possibility. Now that I'm considering it, the more like the more the emphasis on darkness in that episode has to mean something. But like this is also a possibility, because like John just mentioned like enclosed spaces and being buried alive. Like that's very much so Lost John's cave, but Lost John's cave is also very much so to do with like fucking like complete darkness and like true darkness and stuff like that, and they emphasize it too much, so I have no idea, but like it just reminded me of Lost John's cave, and I heard people really like that episode, and so I think about it a lot.
I suppose it's nice to get a statement that goes some way to developing that theory, but
Yay.
I cannot figure out what it has to do with our current situation.
Subway dig.
Was
Also,
it
why
the
did we get the
nameless old
dig
man,
one?
the old woman, or whoever was crying in the car?
I think did
Is he
Mutt
trying
do
to
the
warn me
dig
not
one?
to ignore my own metaphorical pit? Because if so,
I can't help but love the way Jonathan Sims like goes in in the like most insane annoyance possible, like just the most annoyed annoyance possible, annoyed to the point of being driven to its insanity. Jonathan Sims just goes like, what in what metaphorical semi meta-narrative sense is Elias trying to psychoanalyze me right now? He's like, the way he like tries to grasp at like any corner of like, what does this mean? Is he trying to tell me to metaphorically not fall into my pit? It's like, what? I don't know. What is does Elias like? Has Elias? I don't know. Like, I mean, he must be pretty desperate to turn to metaphorical explanations. Cause like, I don't know if Elias seems like a very metaphorical type man. I don't know. I will send you a metaphor to about your mental state. Okay.
I cannot figure out what it has to do with our current situation. Is it the nameless old man, the old woman, or
Oh yeah, the old woman at the
crying in
end,
the car?
and the person crying in the
Is he trying
car.
to warn
That's
me not to
interesting.
ignore my own
Those
metaphorical
people
pit?
are
Because if
definitely
so,
important.
What is my metaphorical pit? You know, it's
Nothing is a
worse, now that
metaphor.
I know I can ask why he's sending me these statements, but that he still won't tell me.
You have to figure it out with your mind powers.
Mr. Ellis is still alive and well, currently living in Tacoma and unwilling to discuss these events any further. The
Tacoma.
town of Pacoda itself is, well, it's gone. Newspapers reported it as an earthquake, and tremors
I
were
never
felt
heard
as
of
far
Pacoda
away as
before. I was
miles
just
from
talking about
Rockland.
Washington.
But despite
'Cause I'm
every
an
article
idiot.
describing Pacoda as having been destroyed by the earthquake, there are no pictures or records of the destruction itself. No damage seems to have occurred outside of town limits, and all of the roads in the area seem unaffected, despite there being no evidence of rebuilding works taking place after the event.
Is there a place for a hole anywhere? A
As far as I can
roundabout?
tell, there was an earthquake, and then Pacoda wasn't there. But aside from these two details... Alright, let's... Georgie, where's your fuse Right. Keep saying it's not meant to trip whenever one bulb goes, but no, John, I don't want to bother the landlord.
You don't want to do that. I mean, you can if you really want to, but you're not going to like it. Sometimes not being able to see something is actually quite a good thing.
Who are you?
Well, my father called me Nicola, and then I killed him. So I think I rather deserve to have his second name too, which makes me Nicola Orsinov. Pleased to meet you at last.
Orsinov. From the circus?
Gregor Orsinov.
Yep, he got really boring, and I'm a monster. I mean, what
Okay.
do you want me to do? Not pull him apart. I did use all the bits.
You don't sound Russian?
How could I sound anything silly? I'm plastic. I don't even have a voice box. I had to borrow this one. Don't turn on the light.
He said,
Are you going to kill me?
And you ask this to everyone. None of them do, for some reason.
I mean, yes, but not for a good long while yet. I don't want you to go to waste.
Then what?
When? Why?
Why are you here?
After you attacked poor Sarah, I thought it was about time we had a good old chat. Face to no face. Eye to... well...
What do you want?
You remember that old piece of skin you were talking about? We'd like it back.
We doesn't know where it is.
Mean old Gertrude had destroyed it. But then you went looking, and now we think...
Jonathan Sims really went like, you don't sound Russian.
I'm sorry, are you asking me to find it for you?
That would be lovely. And a lot
I would.
nicer for you
Why would
than our
I?
other
I don't want the world to end. By the way.
What is so important about some ancient bit of taxidermy?
I want to wear it when I dance the world new.
But what?
Question time is over, little archivist. Find the skin for us. You have until... well, until I change my mind. Save your energy for the dance.
Cool.
The Magnus Archives is a podcast distributed by Rusty Quill and licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 4.0 international license.
Cool.
Today's episode was written by Jonathan Sims and directed by Alexander J. Newell. To subscribe, view associated material or join our Patreon, visit rustyquill.com. Rate and review us online, tweet us at The Rusty Quill, visit us on Facebook or email us at mail@rustyquill.com.
I didn't expect that. I didn't expect another encounter at the end of this episode. What do I even say?
Thanks for listening.
I need to. Oh my god! I need to find my fucking episode summaries so I can fucking So I can okay. Yeah, this is definitely the last episode for me tonight. I talked for way too long. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna go to We All Ignore the Bit, and I'm gonna read through whatever just happened, cause I was paying attention the whole time, but I was also freaking the heck out. Yeah, because, like, Jonathan Sims specifically said caves. Like, caves specifically. Like, when he was describing this, like, whole Earth buried alive entity. Which is, like, just direct, like, frickin' just full-on, just Lost John's cave. But, like, there was also the whole darkness thing in Lost John's cave. But there was also the whole, like, being closed in, like, by the fucking walls and stuff. And Nikola Orsinov appears. Killed Gregor Orsinov by pulling him apart and using all the bits. How how what's that guy's name? It's fucking how Garrett Jacob Hobbs of you. No part goes to waste. It's a Hannibal reference. I'm pretty sure that guy probably also exists somewhere in the Hannibal books, but nah, I'm talking about the Hannibal TV series. And she wants to wear the skin when she dances the world anew. Oh, I saw the masquerade thing like like a way back, and I talked about it, but like we're getting confirmation that this is a dance. The Unknowing is a great ballroom festivity. I can't wait. Sure. Sure. Makes sense. A bunch of fake people dancing. I don't know how. Just, dancing. Whatever counts as dancing. I don't know. And she just says, "John, find the skin for me." And John's like, I just attacked Sarah Baldwin so you guys would to find the skin and make sure you guys didn't have it. Like, I don't want the world to end. That'd be strange. So like, this Sarah Baldwin admitted that the skin was important for the Unknowing, but Nicola Orsanov said that she wants to wear it, like she specifically. So is like Nicola Orsanov some? I just almost said fucking. I almost just unironically punnily said is Nicola Orsanov the ringleader of? Is Nicola Orsanov the ringleader of the Unknowing? Because if this skin thing is important and she gets to wear it, then like, whoa, that speaks a high up position. Yeah, a light bulb goes out, and then he calls for George, and he's like, "Oh wait," and then someone appears, like this is a stranger person. Like, this is someone looking for the stranger, obviously. But they just like appeared out of nowhere, and I'm like, I don't know what your guys' power set is. I thought you guys were mannequins. I thought you guys were just mannequins, but now you can appear out of darkness. Strange. Because when the light bulb went out, my first thought was, oh shit, it's the darkness people, I guess. It's the darkness people. Ah! Because like light bulbs going out and stuff, and I'm like, light! And then stuff like that. But then like one of the strangest people showed up, and I was like, I guess the light bulbs going out is just a general supernatural happenstance. Apparently. Okay then. She killed Gregor Ursanov, which is the guy who ran the circus, I'm assuming. I think. Oh god, I need to look back at fucking Ursanov. Oh, I might be able to click on his character page now because it's gonna say related entity, the stranger, and I know that already. So maybe I can click on his. I'm scared though. What if I click on his page and the second line is a fucking spoiler? I don't know. So John attacking Sarah Baldwin had repercussions, which I should have expected, which I did not expect because I'm a fool. It makes sense that when you would just attack someone who just works for someone, like someone comes after you, that just makes sense. I have to think about the Orsanov people. Frick. Okay, I'll click on his thing. And then I'll What the fuck? Okay. Nope. I will not. I clicked on it, and then there was like the first line was like, he created the puppet blank, and I was like, what? Excuse me? Like, get this out of my head. Whatever just happened, get it out of my head. Why can't I never just look at where people appear in previous episodes? I know he's part of the circus, he was involved in the circus, but I want to know the actual history. I think I should read the summary of Tightrope, because Gertrude Robinson talks about like people. I know the two episodes, Strange Music and Tightrope, which are the ones where I think have shown the circus so far and have stuff. Because Orsanov, I want to know the first time that name appeared, that so I can connect the dots in like the order that they were meant to be connected. And then I know Gertrude said some shit about like someone leaving and it getting worse, and I want to know exactly who left and exactly who was involved, and I want to know about that. But I will look it up in my own time. That was okay. That was insane. I don't know what just happened. I know what just happened, but I also don't know what just happened. That was kind of crazy. I don't know. I mean, we that stuff's dead, which I feel like we have heard of, I guess. Yeah. And she killed him. Other Orsanov killed Orsanov. I wonder why though. Oh, she was like, she was really, she was really happy-go-lucky about it. Like, these people kind of sort of tend to be, not happy-go-lucky. They just seem to be not just like casual about it in a way that's like, that makes sense, because they seem very comfortable with their nature as non-human beings at the point that they're at. Like, this person, they were like, you should jump. Like, you killed your father? And she was like, of course I did. I'm a monster. It's what I do. What did you expect me to do? I'm just wacky like that. And it was like, okay. Sure. I'll look at the transcript, see how it goes. How it looks at the end. The Uggers is struck dumb. What a caption for Jonathan Sims getting choked. Gregor Orsanov. He got boring, and I'm a monster. 2 reasons. I killed my father because 1, he got boring. 2, I'm a monster. Just cause. 3, what do you expect? Okay, that's weird, because, like, these followers, they all seem to follow the stranger. I'm assuming, like, I feel like, it's very much so confirmed that the circus was following the stranger, and there's Gregor Orsanov was following the stranger, and we know that Nicola Orsanov is following the stranger. So why did she kill her dad, who was running this stranger circus? Like, I don't know. Like, did he turn against the stranger, or was he just like lame? Like, he was just like, I need a new person now. Freaking his daughter's better. Like, I don't know how these things are decided, how people turn against each other when they're part of the same faction. I don't know how these dynamics work when people are apparently all monsters, like she said. Like, how does the loyalty go? How does this whole being part of the same group work? We have a skin. We don't actually know what this skin is. What the hell this skin is, I don't know. Someone said it was something like a gorilla or something from something, like something super old. But Sarah Baldwin seemed to laugh when John gave that description. It's like, that's not what it is. Okay, interesting. You don't sound Russian. Thanks, John. Good. John was really a stickler on the accents. Like, he talked to Leitner. He's like, you don't sound German. He's talking to this mannequin person or something that appeared in the middle of his house or whatever, like, out of the darkness. He's like, you don't sound Russian. And then Elizabeth said, find me that skin. And he slapped at her. And then John's like, what? Why would John do that? Like, he's gonna die either way, basically. I don't know. How is this gonna go? How is this gonna work? I don't even know. It was a very interesting episode. Very cool episode. It was cool. I like the concept. And I loved the plot at the end. So yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna sign off. Signing off into the next dimension. Let's go. Very cool. Goodbye. Oh my god, I've been streaming for an hour and I only watched one episode.